Hey gang, it's time to look at a new board game. As promised, we're going to be taking a look at the Resident Evil 3 board game. So we've just finished covering the Resident Evil 2 board game. This one came out afterwards, funnily enough, but then was followed by the Resident Evil board game, as in the Resident Evil 1 board game, which I don't actually own, so we're only going to be taking a look at 2 and 3. So first things first, you will notice that it says down here this is the Kickstarter edition. I didn't back this on Kickstarter. I actually bought the original retail version of this game, and then I just so happened to be able to pick up a whole bunch of Kickstarter exclusive stuff for both 2 and 3 in a big bundle for a very reasonable price on eBay. So I've since replaced my original box with the Kickstarter version, because there are some differences. There's some extra things added in here, and the actual internals of the box are completely different. But as you can see, the artwork on the front is kind of bland. It's just a dark grey with smudges and scratches, and then you've got like blood in the corner and whatnot. Nothing particularly exciting. Let's have a look at the back. Again, not too much on the back. It says here, it was an ordinary day in Raccoon City, and then the outbreak began. Nothing could stop it. Nothing. So the interesting thing about Resident Evil 3, for those unfamiliar with the video games, is that it actually takes place slightly before and slightly after the events of Resident Evil 2. So it's kind of like it runs parallel to Resident Evil 2, essentially. It's all about the outbreak of Raccoon City, but it focuses on STARS member Jill Valentine, who you should remember from Resident Evil 1, and her essential escape through the city and the people she meets. And you know, the other things she meets aren't people. So yeah, this board game is focusing on the events of Resident Evil 3, but it plays very similarly to Resident Evil 2. So if you're familiar with RE2, you'll be familiar with RE3. Alright, enough blabbering, let's open it up. Starting off, we have this game contains scenes of explicit violence and gore. Those of you who've watched the RE2 video will know that this is what you get for RE2 as well, but it's a different picture, still Raccoon City all broken down. Again, this is from the original video game. This time on the back, however, it's not double-sided. We actually have this map, different places to go. So you can see RPD 1, 2, 3, Commercial 2 and 3, Clock Tower and stuff like that. This is kind of like a map for playing a campaign, if you're going to be playing this in campaign mode. I've not done it myself just yet, but it looks pretty fun. And you've got these different trackers. Not sure what it all does, but extra stuff, it's always good. Okay, starting off, we of course right off the back have information about 2 expansions. So we have here the City of Ruin expansion and the Last Escape. I actually have both of these, and as far as I'm aware, they're the only expansions for RE3. It's not like the RE2 board game that had loads and loads and loads of Kickstarter expansions. RE3 was a lot more subdued, thank God. Alright, moving on, we have the rulebook here. So the RE3 rulebook, it's very thick. It's thicker than the RE2 one, but I think it mostly covers the same ground with whatever changes are in this game. Now, I'm not too familiar with this one. I have played RE2, I have not yet played RE3, and you might be wondering, why do you keep buying board games that you haven't had time to play? And honestly, I don't have an answer for you, I just like them. Time is more expensive than board games, sadly, so that's my reasoning. Anyway, so looking through the game contents, we've got characters, bosses, we have some enemies in red, tiles, got tokens, cards. You'll be very familiar with all of this. You've even got the dials, very similar to RE2. This essentially is RE2, but with a 3 on the end. Lots of cool artwork in this book though, which probably is what's stretching it out really, is just the different artwork. But you've got some different scenarios. You've got an introduction scenario to teach you how to play, which is pretty awesome. You've got this full picture of the tyrant, so that's pretty awesome. Sorry, Nemesis, not tyrant, obviously, it's Resident Evil 3. That is the rulebook, and on the back you've got like a quick reference sheet, which is good to have around. Next is the scenario booklet. So this one is where you'll be getting all of your missions from. Again, this one is a lot thicker than RE2, so I think there are a lot more scenarios to go through, but the general setup, the way that it all works, is pretty much identical to RE2, so you'll be very familiar with this. Now it's time to have a look inside. You can see everything's fallen apart. That's probably because I turned it over. So I guess first things first, we have the cards. They are, again, very similar to the RE2 ones. You've got the tension deck here, you've got some all clears, you've got some orangey ones and some red ones that you really want to avoid. That one's kind of cool, something beneath. So yeah, lots of cards there. We have reference cards for different characters. We've got the Gravedigger here. We've got their behaviors as well. All very similar to RE2, nothing to write home about. Then we have enemy reference cards. So zombie, diseased zombie with Drain Deimos, the zombie dog, and what do we have here? More behaviors. Oh, Nemesis Stage 1. Nemesis Stage 1 special cards. You also have these blue ones. I don't actually know what these are. I will put on screen what they are exactly. And then we have our character references. So we have Jill Valentine, Nikolai Ginoviev, I don't know how to pronounce that, Carlos Oliveira, and Mikhail Victor. I apologize for butchering all of their names. So anyway, that's all the full-size cards. Now, you might be interested in what's going on here. So we actually have game trays that were introduced for the Kickstarter of RE3. So rather than a normal sort of black insert with everything put in, this instead is using game trays, which is a registered trademark. They've created custom trays so that you can have everything organized really neatly in the box, but also it means you can bring them out like this and put them on the table, which is pretty awesome. So we can break this down to its component parts. We have all of the enemies here. We have all of the playable characters and some enemies. Lots of playable characters because we have Kickstarter alternative sculpts, so we'll be taking a look at those. In here are all of the tokens, so we're not going to take a look at all of these, but I will go through and show you some of these. And it's really nice umbrella game tray. I really like the game trays. They're just really good for organization, and yeah, they look really nice. Down here we have the health tracker. So you may remember in RE2 the health tracker is twice the size of this, whereas now they've kept it as just like its own single piece, which makes more sense to me, to be honest. We have lots of tiles over here. I think it's pretty much tiles all the way down, and then the dice. We have the big 4x4 tile covering some more stuff, more tiles, and then underneath we have the weapon wheels. We'll take a look at those in just a minute. We have some more miniatures, which are the bosses, so you can see these guys down here, and then we have the equipment cards. Let's have a quick look at the different equipment cards. So we also have these small cards here, locked and unlocked, for the different parts of the map that we saw, so presumably that's used in the campaign. We also have here some keys. We have the boutique key, the stars key, the old key, simple lock, padlock, and winder key. Oh, they're actually double-sided. So we also have the backdoor key, the bezel key, the future compass, the gas station shutter, city hall gate, one-way door, spare keys. So yeah, different keys used for different missions, presumably. Makes sense to have them double-sided, just so you're not wasting real estate. Next, we have the B equipment. So we have first aid sprays, we've got some more keys, batteries, lighters. So different stuff to RE2, which is nice. If you like a bit of variety. Obviously, there's some stuff that's the same, like first aid spray, but I think even the artwork is different. We also have the shotgun in there. Next, we have the S and the A decks over here. So we just have more equipment, green herbs and stuff like that, red herbs, ink reels, handgun bullets. So there's different levels of stuff in each of the decks. The S stuff is the starting equipment, so we've got handguns, first aid spray, bullets, and knives. Got some more B deck stuff here. So we've got grenade launchers. We've got the Eagle 6.0, assault rifle, another grenade launcher, another Eagle, the Western Custom M37. We have the Magnum, and then we have parts for them. So different weapons in this one, which is pretty cool. And then we have even more items. I'm not going to go through them all, but lots of different items than RE2. So it's not just a reskin of RE2, there are actual different things going on here. In terms of the tiles, they're all the same configuration as RE2. So you've got the corner pieces. Obviously the artwork on them is slightly different. I didn't look at the tiles too much in my RE2 video, so apologies for that. But essentially it's mostly just like artwork either from the game or very similar to the game. So you can see the 3x3s, you've got something on fire there that says the Stagler. That's presumably from Raccoon City. Got a bit of a street there. You've got the Raccoon Police Department internals there. More of the police department. Some more stuff being destroyed. So yeah, lots of really cool artwork on the tiles. And then we have more kinds of tiles. So we have the 2x3s down here. We have the L-shaped pieces on top of that. We also have the dice. Now the dice are slightly different to RE2. They're very similar, but you still have 2 reds, 3 blues, and 1 black, but they do have different symbols on. For example, this and this, so you can't really use the dice from RE2. Also, these ones are a bit nicer. It's kind of hard to compare, but they are nicer. Under here, we also have the monster, sort of like boss health dial, so it's exactly the same dial as in RE2, but it starts at 30 and ends at 0 instead of starting at 29 and ending at 1. I'm not sure what the real difference or reason for that is, but now you know. Coming over here to the weapon dials, we do have some weapons which are the same. For example, the grenade launcher was in RE2. The dials are very similar, but they're more red than the RE2 ones. See, we have Magnum here. That's the classic handgun, and the shotgun. And then new to this one, we have the assault rifle. So I think there was an SMG in RE2, but in RE3 we have the assault rifle. Before we look at the miniatures, let's look at some of these tokens. So again, the nice umbrella game tray lid, I really like that. And then inside we have all these different things. So these red things are very similar to RE2, where it's like if you draw a red tension card, you would put that down. Here we have some different tiles that do different things. I'm not sure what this one does, but those ones underneath are all stairs. Over here we have corpse tokens, so very similar to RE2. This is the stash, as well as doors. So lots of doors, different artwork on them, which is really nice. Over here we have some blue markers. We've got flooded, for example, so presumably that's related to the blue cards that I showed you. We have some kind of flaming tokens, like flaming barrels or something, so that's pretty cool. In here, I have no idea what these mean. We've got electric bolts and like an eye on that side. On these ones, you've just got this yellow and black stuff, and then orange and black. Again, I'm not sure what those tokens do. Down this side, we have some more doors that presumably couldn't fit in the other bit. Even more doors, kind of creepy grates on that one. That's pretty cool. Down here, we have some letters. So we have A and B. That's presumably for the item pickups. And then we have a bunch of these colored circular ones. Presumably something to do with the mission mode. And then over here we have wounds as well, so very similar to RE2. So that's all the tokens. Okay, enough of that. Let's look at some miniatures. We're going to start off with Nemesis Stage 1. Here he has a bazooka, a rocket launcher. He stalks Jill throughout the entirety of RE3, or almost the entirety, I think. I've only played the remake, and I know that there are quite a few differences between the original and the remake, which were quite controversial, so I can only speak to the remake. But Nemesis was pretty awesome. And here we have Nemesis Stage 2. He's got all of his tentacles coming out. He's gone completely mental. Jill's really giving him a hard time, poor guy. Down here we have the Gravedigger worm. Now, it's not very big. This is sort of like a medium-sized Gravedigger. There are bigger Gravedigger miniatures for this game, which come in one of the expansions, so we'll be seeing that in a later video. Right, let's have a look at these playable characters. With the Kickstarter exclusive sculpts, we actually have loads of different variations. So you can see there's actually 12 total miniatures here. So we'll start with Jill. So it turns out that there are actually 5 Jill sculpts in here, all laid out over here. That's a lot more than the others, but you know, fan service, I guess. So let's start with the basic one. This is Jill, how she appears if you buy the retail version of Resident Evil 3. She's got her blue tank top on. Obviously you can't see it's blue, but it's the original Jill look from RE3, holding a pistol to the ground. Looks really cool. Here we have Jill in her police uniform, ready to gun down some zombies. Got her high heels on, looks really, really nice. Next up is Jill again, and she is running with her pistol whilst wearing her STARS uniform, so another great addition. This one appears to be Jill in some kind of suit with a revolver. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. We've got flares. Maybe it's an alternate uniform or something you can get in the game, but yeah, very strange. Then finally we have Jill in some kind of military looking gear maybe, or yeah, it doesn't look like her normal outfit, but it's pretty cool, and she's walking with her pistol. Very nice. Next up is Carlos. So this is his base game miniature. He's got his assault rifle over his shoulder, looking super casual and laid back. He has an alternate sculpt as well, so here he is with his pistol. Moving on, we have Mikhail, also brandishing an assault rifle. Grammar is important, kids. And this is the Mikhail you get in the base game. And here is his Kickstarter exclusive sculpt with a rocket launcher. Looks absolutely insane. Pretty awesome. Finally, we have Nikolai, the final miniature in the base game. This is what he looks like with a knife in one hand, gun in the other. Looks really cool. And here are his 2 Kickstarter exclusive sculpts. So quite interesting. Nothing too special. I don't think anyone was really asking for more Nikolai, but you know, we get him. Now to look at some enemy miniatures, and starting off we have, of course, the lady zombie. Always got to have a lady zombie in this game. She's got longer hair than the other one. Looks pretty cool. So you get 5 of each of the zombies. So 5 lady zombies. You get 5 of this guy here. You see he's missing most of his face and most of his arm. He's got a twisted leg. Looks pretty horrible. And then we also have this Disco's loving zombie over here. You know, fair enough, you know, everyone loves Disco. You've got the Drain Demos, or Demons, or however it's pronounced. You've got 2 of them. You've got one standing upright, looks like he's going to give you a high five, and then you've got one kind of like crawling along the ground. And then zombie dogs, 4 slightly different sculpts, but they're all pretty much a variation of the same thing, and they're very similar to the RE2 ones. So that is Resident Evil 3. So pretty cool. I like the Kickstarter version with the game trays. I think it keeps everything really nice and organized, and there are enough differences in the you know, the way that the game works and the things that come with it to warrant getting it in addition to RE2 or in place of RE2. I can't say which one I prefer because I haven't played RE3 yet, but I like the presentation of this one more. But that's it for the base game. There are a couple of expansions to cover, so we'll be going over those in another video. But thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you then.